hear one thing the sermon was about. Because I cared so much about how I looked and what people thought about me, that something that I had not taken care of back in 6th grade when they put me in that special ed class, that offense spirit grabbed a hold of me. Because remember, the devil can't touch me anyway but in my mind, in my heart, how I feel about myself. So he allows you to think you ain't good enough. He makes you think that you ain't worthy enough, that nobody loves you, and that you made so many doozies. He makes you think that you are an oddball. He tells you that you're the black sheep instead of really you ain't the black sheep. You're the cool one of the family because you really had the nerve to do things nobody else wanted to do. But see, we put a bad decline on everything because he wants us stuck. He wants us stuck. And that night I heard the Holy Spirit say, you better fix it. Because you're going to keep going around this block. It's like a scab that you keep a Band-Aid on and never let the air hit it. And it stays moist. And the minute you take that scab off, it'll be a month later and that thing still ain't healed. But the minute you allow natural air and that thing to really hit purity and allow that exposure of, you know what? It hurt. It stinks. I hate where I'm at. I don't want to go back and visit it again. I don't want to go back. Once you finally open it up, it might hurt for a second to go back and revisit it, but then poof, it's gone. No longer to attack you. No longer to make you feel like you're awful and making all these mistakes. No longer feeling shameful or guilt. Buddy, I took care of it. In fact, I took myself off the platform. And I went to my mom and daddy's house. And I allowed myself to start healing. That wasn't the finale of my story because that's when I still got married when I knew I should. It stayed 16 years because I was trying to prove everybody that I did the right thing when everybody was telling me, don't you marry him. I was like, oh, watch me. So I got rid of the critical spirit, but then I kept that rebellious spirit. You see what I'm saying? Like when you are doing things your own way and it's always a push and a shove, it means you're doing it your way, not God's way. Even in your relationships, when it's God's way, it just works. There ain't no pushing and shoving. You ain't wondering if they love you. They just, you know they love you. When a man loves you, you gonna know it because he's gonna move mountains. He can work a midnight hour all night long, but he's still gonna come see his boo. You're not gonna have to wonder. You're not gonna have to wonder and fight for that job promotion when God puts you in line for it. The only thing you gotta be doing is staying in your lane. You got to know who you are, what your gifts are, how good you are, how qualified you are. Even if you dropped out of school in 8th grade. Did you know Facebook guy, the man that's making millions now, keeping us all connected? He never went to college. He just had an idea. He just had an idea and said, you know what, everybody's going to think I'm crazy, but I'm just going to do this. It's deciding that one day, you know what, I ain't going to live here anymore. I'm not going to allow myself to be a victim of my own story. Being a victim in your own story stinks. It's so boring. It was only a party one. Misery loves company. You know why misery loves company? Because it's boring to eat alone. So some of you tonight need to take some of these people that are in your VIP. Tell them, you know what? I love you. I love you. You didn't do nothing. I'm going to say no to you. When you call, I'm going to delete you. I'm going to put you in do not disturb. Don't answer. It's not because I don't love you. It's because where I'm going, you can't go. I can't allow you to tear my spirit down anymore. I can't allow you to pollute me and remind me of my past anymore. I can't allow you to tell me this is who she used to be. This is, oh, you know how she is. You know how she is. No, you got to allow yourself. You got to do everything in your power to allow yourself to be able to fruitfully move forward by guarding your heart. You got to guard your heart. When something comes against you and you feel like every time you answer that phone, you got to go and take a shower when you hang up because that person just degraded you, you need to block them. You need to control, alt, delete. The greatest thing on Facebook is they got a little hide thing. You can just hide people. They don't even know they're hid. You're like, oh, poof, oh, where'd she go? Where'd she go? You don't got to explain yourself. Gone, poof, just like that. And you need to move them to that from that VIP and say, you're gonna go up there in that balcony and you're going to watch me from a distance. I don't hate you, but from my heart, for who God's called me to be, where he's taken me. See, if I wouldn't have separated myself in that season of my healing in a little 10 by 10 room, the size of my walk-in closet of the house I lost, then I wouldn't have known who I am today. Because it's in the seasons of storms. You got to realize that every storm runs out of rain. Every storm in your life is going to run out of rain. You can either praise your way through, or you can cry a river, but you're going to soon have to get over it. Yeah. You're going to have to soon realize that you go to a therapist. I remember after I went through my divorce, my parents thought I needed a therapist. I'm sure it was because, I don't know why. Kimberly, you need a therapist. You need a therapist. I'm like, really, you want me to go get a therapist because you want everybody in the world, in the church world, to think that I did all I could do so that you would have an explanation. I did it because it's my accountability. They think I needed a therapist. I'm going to go to a therapist. I walked in there for, when you're a single mama, $150 is a lot of money to spend for somebody to talk to you about your problems. I know what my problem is. I failed. I had a big mouth. I didn't submit like I should have. I wish I wouldn't have been broken when I got married, because I wouldn't have done half the things. I wish I could go back. I wish. What am I going to do, sit there and tell her? And I remember 45 minutes into that counseling session, I'm talking, because y'all know how to talk. Talking, telling her everything, giving her all my woes, digging up all these scabs. And she goes, how did that make you feel? I went, how did that make me feel? Oh, honey, you better be telling me how it made me feel for $150. You better tell me what's wrong with me. For $150, you better at least tell me one thing to help me. Help God. When I got in that car, I was mad. I was mad at my mama. I was mad at my daddy. I was mad at my ex again. He was done gone, moved on. He didn't care. I got in that car and the Holy Spirit said, when you going to get it?
Right, that's right.
You're going to keep going around this block till you get it.
Right.
It's all about forgiveness, sister.
Right.
You don't want to forgive because you think if you forgive, it's pardoning the crime that was committed against you.
Right.
So you're going to hold on to it while they out living, doing everything they want to do, and you pay for it. Because rejection is not somebody wanting out of your life. It's somebody that God needed out of your future. They weren't even good enough to stay in your life, but you're allowing them to still control your blessings, because as long as you walk around with unforgiveness and anger towards anybody, you're blocking your blessing. You got to forgive. You can't forgive them. So as we close tonight, we're going to take an offering up, because I honor Pastor T, because doing a conference ain't no joke. I can't stand doing. I love to preach at them, but I don't like putting them on. I just don't. So much worry, so much stress, stuff that comes along with it. But I believe that tonight we were set up for this. When I walked in here, I know I heard the Holy Spirit say, pass this test. I can't wait for tomorrow, because you know why? I passed this test.
Yeah.
I'm going to go up here next. Because God don't take 10 years. What would normally take 10 years takes 1 year. Because when he starts restoring things, he starts saying, oh yeah, you passed that test. You passed that test. Oh yeah. Whenever I got my heart right, everything that I desired and wanted in my life for 16 years with this man that had my whole heart. In fact, he was my God and not God. And when he walked out, my whole heart was so messed up that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't eat. I laid in a bed, depressed, with the covers over my head, thinking my life was over. Everybody was talking about me. Or where am I? Whoa. And when God said, get it right, and watch what I'm about to do. Watch. I'm going to put you in front of people that everybody in the world is going to be wondering. And all those haters and all those people that kept trying to keep you down for all your entire life, the devil was using as his little imps. I'm going to give them a front row seat, and I'm going to let them watch you as I elevate you. Because that's how God rolls. He ain't going to just let your storm in. He's going to show out. It might be dark right now, but those lights have been turned off. He's got a surprise party he's brewing for you, baby. And when those lights come back on, it's going to be miraculous in your life. So I want to take an offering up. So y'all go ahead and start digging in your bags, because we're going to take an offering up, because this costs money to have this conference. And God's going to bless her. Usually when I go to conferences, they literally will charge $65, and people are like, $65? I didn't charge. Well, no, it ain't my conference. But she did not ask for one dime. Not one dime. And she fed you. Usually they let you starve at conferences. They'll be like, oh, you better go get your own food because you didn't pay. She fed you. And this was her first conference. And I just want us to sow a seed. But before we do, in fact, we're going to go ahead and sow it because I want us to do something before we leave. And I don't know what y'all got a bucket, I can take it. I'll take it up. Because when you sow into good soil, let me just tell you something. When you sow into good soil, I can't even tell you. Y'all, this week, I got a $3,000 check, another $3,000 check from people on Facebook. I didn't ask them for a dime. I've never asked one single person to sow into my ministry, ever. Ever. I spend $200 a month on mail checks, and that's because I got so many subscribers. Everything I touch, God just blesses. Because I was faithful. Because whenever God takes you where you need to go, don't you think you're too big for places like this.
That's right.
Don't you think when God starts elevating you at your job and you become the CEO, don't you forget what it was like to be in that mailroom, working your way up. Don't you dare. Every day of my life, I lay hands on myself and I say, God, keep my heart right. God, let me stay in love with the people that you've gifted me with, that you've trusted me with. God, let me be there. Let me be hands-on. Let me touch them. I have so many pastors that I preach for. They say, we can't believe you're so down to earth. Well, why not? Like, who am I? I'm nothing. I wouldn't get to do this if it weren't for you and you. I wouldn't get to do this if God didn't trust me